Welcome to Boss Beginnings, a podcast where we talk about real careers, real journeys, and honest conversations about success. Well, conversations that build the boss in you. On today's episode, in my mother's house, we've got a new friend of mine, Lungisa Sishuba. As you know, I do not do the introductions of my guests. So, Lungisa, how are you?
Thank you, Busi. I'm good, and yourself?
Great. Thank you so much for coming and honoring our invitation.
And thanks for having me.
So let's start. Who is Lungisa?
Wow,
Lungisa. You must treat it like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Busi. I think Lungisa Sishuba is a young boy from Eastern Cape.
Ijan.
Yes, Eastern Cape, yes. And I hail from the villages of Eastern Cape, Ewutalsea. Have about 20 years around Gauteng, but I think I would say most of my life is closer, mainly closer. And I grew up in the rural villages in the township of Eastern Cape, having to know both cultures within the city, village, and I think that makes who I am. Above all, I do have a career. I'm a contracts manager, project manager. And I do have a life of an entrepreneurship as well within me that I've started some years ago. And unfortunately, it came to an end. To bring me today's career, I think I'm in a water infrastructure environment where I lead project implementation. And we'll have a conversation more about myself. But who I am is really also a family man. I have 3 girls and I'm married to a beautiful wife, Tobega. And yes, man, that's essentially who Lungisa is. And there's more to me than just that career aspect as well. There's things that make you the family and, being closer, being closer. Do have extended families from my mother's side, very intimate family from my father's side as well, who's late now. And all of that experience, I think it's what completed to who I am today. And above all, there's childhood friendships that you built from across my growing up. So my growing up is quite unique. So my parents used to, travel a lot. Baba umfundisi, mama umfundisi. But she wasn't really working at the time. And this is all pre-94. And they will then, evangelists, they will go from town to town. So that's pretty much my childhood, where we went from King Williamstown, Queenstown, East London, Statarem at some point. And all of that experience, I think it has made me the man that I am today. And I would say grounded families, both ends, from my mother's side and my dad's side. What I think came to realization, though, the biggest transition in my life is to be in Gauteng. And that Gauteng life has been a bit of a challenge in some stages, where I've tried to keep up with the pace of the city. And I do, like any other, man, you have these behaviors that you've inherited, and then you sort of learn and become better, And essentially, that's Lungisa Sishuba, a compilation of all these experiences from rural townships, the farm as well. There is a bit of farm lifestyle that I've inherited. All of that comes to who I am, and Busi, even the journey of entrepreneurship has made me a different person as well. Where in the construction industry, really the personality has to be a tough personality. And I toughened up in that 6 years of being an entrepreneur. I think that was, to me, the biggest sort of challenge in my whole sort of upbringing.
Okay, so before we go there, right? Because we're starting back. Let's go back to high school. I would like to think that, in fact, I don't remember you mentioning anything about your cycling during this, and I know you're an avid cyclist.
That's the biggest part of who I am as well. So I do a bit of cycling. I do vitality, team vitality. I've started cycling around 2008, I think, somewhere there.
That's a long time.
It's been almost 20 years of cycling. And I do have adventure sports as well, like your hiking. And I do diving as well. But
Wow.
most people get surprised.
Yeah, I'm shocked with that part.
Yeah, exactly. But that diving experience is just mainly basic, but I do love water, essentially. And yeah, and the other experience is maybe high school. So you asked me about high school. High school, I went to a high school called Funda High School in the rural town of Whittlesea. And the experience there is that the setup wasn't so backward, as much as it's a village. But you know, the villages now are turning into township sort of setup, and that's essentially that describes what my background is. I chose subjects based on my teachers back then. You know, maths and physics. Maths and physics, they will ram it in your head.
Yeah, STEM.
STEM, yes. So I did maths and physics, and I did have sort of good understanding of maths. My strong point was in physics, and maths was the great deal in biology. And all the sciences really where I was doing sort of okay. And when I got to university, I passed sort of pretty. Back then, we had exemptions, which were mainly the
the equivalent of the bachelor pass now.
Exactly.
Yes.
So what we then have in that transition, I think, was there was a lower pass rate in the Eastern Cape. I think Eastern Cape was the poorest province at that time.
I don't want to say what I'm thinking now.
You don't want to?
Say what I'm thinking now.
But we're doing better.
Cutting edge
province,
but
it's controversial province.
Very, very controversial.
Yeah. But what we then, I think, went to do, based on that maths and science stream, I went and did in Durban a short while. I registered electrical engineering. It hammered me straight. And because the teachers, you know, there's maths and physics, engineering. So there, the main influence was friends. It was not really my decision. It was a group of friends.
So you didn't choose engineering because of passion or what you like.
I was trying to fit in.
Trying to fit in, and also because the teachers were like, but you're good at math.
Exactly.
So do engineering.
Exactly.
Okay. So it was not a natural progression for you.
Exactly. And so I didn't know of a course called quantity surveying at the time. So there was a very prominent guy in our village that did it, and sort of he came across. You know, I bumped into him.
So maybe let's backtrack.
Yeah.
So after matric, you pass very well exemption. You apply. Go in Durban.
In Durban.
And then you study. You did study.
I did study
electrical engineering.
Yes, correct.
And first year was like never.
Flames.
No.
Like flames. To be honest with you, I could not hold. You know, when you pass in matric, you hold your report to your files.
Yes.
The results came and it was horrible. And my mother was so disappointed. I remember that. So I chose then what was called building sciences, a diploma, which leads to a stream of quantity surveying or construction management. And then it was a rebound course, but the person that really inspired me was a random person that was known in the around the village by the name of Vuyo. So then
let's go back to Vuyo.
Yeah.
Do you think that we somehow emulate people like that at some point in our lives?
Absolutely.
Or maybe they are the ones that influence us to a certain degree. But if Vuyo could do this,
and it both ways, in a negative way as well. You will have Uta Darobi or Tamalinga or 325i, you know, weekends. That's influence.
Yes, that's
for
influence,
kids. For kids, they emulate those things. So for me, I think that was the positive externality of that sort of view. And what came about is that I then inquired at what is it? PE Technicon at that time, And
so you left Durban because
I left Durban because the parents were not sponsoring this gig, because it was not yielding results. My dad was sort of military guy, he's a prison warden, so he's strict. It's like, hey, this guy is wasting time. And he gave me forms. I remember, just register somewhere and do a course, with security, but. I never really, but my dad was military, but not in a negative way, but he was trying to safeguard his children, if this thing is not working for you, why don't you try this? But, on a positive note, I think that pushed me. I think, one, I was disappointed in myself because I wasn't really that person who's used to failing. So I went to PE, which was PE Technicon at the time. So the model at that time used to be very analog, because I remember when you apply, you used to write, a letter to a university. They reply with the forms, you fill them in, and then you send them back. That's the stage. I'm revealing my age as well. But at that stage, you see, I think it was the greatest investment, because I only had 1,500 rand. I think it was a lot of money back then. Paid registration, didn't have accommodation, made a choice, but I knew that this is like the golden opportunity, and I took it with both hands. Met very interesting people from different backgrounds. I think that's another attribute. I think you credit people that you meet along the way. So I met people that were from better schools, from better sort of backgrounds, better exposure to things, and that context, I think I don't want to leave it out, because influence of other people influences who you are.
Yeah.
And I met really great friends there. I met the likes of Kaka, Tabo. I met a lot of guys, a lot of guys. And those experiences is still, when you backtrack, you're saying, what was my university like? You always remember those people that influenced. I had Sipo, and another guy was Sipo, and that to me was the biggest transition at that time, to say, you're a village boy, you're now at university on your own in a big city. How do you then survive? I found that survival as a group. I had a very great friend from high school as well, Luko Matoti, and that to me, he was much smarter, much brighter, and he had a better sort of exposure to life as well. That influence, keeping people around, similar mindset, it sort of guided me to say, let me be more serious. In Durban, I did not have that. And that's a result of failure, where I had to find myself, and that start year 1, year 2, year 3, the experience was mainly just about books. I don't have anything interesting. I don't have any drama. I don't have in that. It was just mainly about academics.
Because you knew exactly why you went there.
Exactly.
Right? Because I knew you had made, I suppose, the mistake of having done something that was influenced mainly by pressure.
Absolutely.
And now this time around, it was your choice.
Absolutely. And that experience to me, I think, was the most biggest sort of makeup or foundation, should I call it. And I think for even youngsters today, it's the same thing. If you are faced with sort of a thing that influences your future, that balances all your failure, it's usually that gap, that age. You usually talk about these, podcast Amajita, how they ended up in prison. And it's usually that age where so and so influenced them. There's a gig, Utigurojwe Moto, whatever, and people join in and they buy into that concept. And
so I've also realized, or I learned, that the group of friends, like you say, that you keep in university will probably be the people you go into life with.
Absolutely.
So it's one of the most important life choices that you have to make.
Absolutely.
Because then I was listening to Mashudu's Shudu's podcast, and she was talking about the board members of your life.
Correct.
So that becomes like your board members. These are the people that you will always go back to, and when your career choices and so exactly. I think that's a very important aspect.
Absolutely. And
then maybe it's a peer pressure.
Exactly. But it works both ways. It works. Peer pressure can work in I remember, Julius Malema always makes this joke about himself that when he had woodwork, he had a lot of friends, but none of these friends told him that, hey, this thing here woodwork, and they met other people like your Floyd. Yes, say what you want to say now, but that friendship has a lot to do with a success of each one of them. I think you look at Floyd, who he is today. Yes, they're separated, but who he is today is a result of Julius Malema. And Julius Malema, it's Floyd. And even Josie, I think, was a catalyst in that friendship, because you always have those people that are just willing to advocate for you. If you ever will see, Josie is an advocate of both of them. He's never talked negative about them. so it's our life as well.
Yeah.
You always have those people that are your champions. They say your name in a positive light, and it propels you. You see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is varsity.
Yeah.
You graduate.
Yeah. Graduated in 2007 around April, and back
And
in those
what's your qualification?
a diploma, just me a diploma at that
Diploma
time.
in?
Yeah, in building sciences. Yeah, and at that time,
I don't know anyone who has that diploma.
but I think currently it's being renamed. So you either go to a stream of construction management or quant surveying.
I know
or
quantity
construction
surveying.
studies. They call
I've
it
got
now.
a friend who
Yeah.
is in the quantity survey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then I think at that time, here's the difference. At that time, having a diploma was almost like having,
Yeah. No.
your first
Diploma was,
degree.
yeah.
It was the thing. And what happened is, I think I was fortunate. At that time, you will send a CV, you will get a job interview. That the time it was, I think the country was in a positive growth, and I was lucky. I worked for a major company called Stefanuti Stokes.
I know Stefanutis.
And my career, I think, shot from there, and I really
And
had
you were
luck.
doing building
Exactly
sciences.
building science. Their mainstream was commercial building, your shopping centers, your malls, your structures, civil engineering structures as well.
So now, for somebody who does not understand what building sciences entail, right?
Yeah.
We are talking about now that it's being renamed.
Yeah.
Can you please try to simplify it? And we are simplifying it. Remember, our target audience is people who want to know. So
100%.
let's make it this building science, and then maybe if you can, then you'll differentiate it to what civil engineering is now,
Yeah.
and then what quantity surveying is.
100%.
Because I know that with quantity surveying, it's a bit technical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please explain what building science is, and then quantity surveying, and then civil.
All right. I think I'll just start broadly. There is a faculty called Built Environment,
Yes, I know
which
built
encompasses your civil engineering, your quantity surveying or construction studies.
Yes.
In some institutions, they'll have environmental as well in that one department.
Environmental sciences.
Environmental sciences, yeah.
yes.
And then there's a bit of IT. Some segment they take IT out, some faculties depending. But I'll just take in the context of the university around UJ, your TUT, they have that set up, built environment. So what do they have there is a civil engineering is a stream that allows you to go straight into design, implementation, all of that, and it allows two streams where you can go consulting, you can go in construction for construction companies, for your developers, for your municipalities, allow you to plan infrastructure planning. So civil engineering, I would say broadly, is the lead in terms of the built environment. You will have architectural, not so much, not so many people go through that stream, but it's still relevant today. And then you've got quantity surveying, which is, again, they have the technical knowledge. Basically, you do the basic sort of construction engineering, but without the context of being a designer.
Okay.
Now, it allows you to read, compute, do feasibility studies. You'll be able to project implement. You'll be able to do what you call construction implementation as well. Both as well, developer, municipalities, your biggest clients, your biggest construction companies, they do feature in that. And then you have construction management, which is a sister to quantity surveying. So you will have, for example, you'll have accountants and auditors.
Yes.
Others can do both with the same qualification. Similar thing with construction management and quantity surveying. So, and then you will have, lastly, I think why it's called a built environment, that environment aspect, which is environmental scientists. Those are people that are scientists by nature, and they deal with the environmental consideration. They do sort of
the ones that
studies.
keep saying to people, stop building in Centurion.
Exactly, there you go. Or mining operations.
Yes.
You can never run a mining operations without an environmentalist, which is quite key. So to break it down to you, you have people that are within the building sector, construction studies. Those are sciences. Environmentalist sciences. And then you've got engineering, which is core engineering. That will be your electrical, civil engineering, mechanical, you name it. All of those are core engineering courses, and then, but they just within the same faculty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for explaining
Yeah.
that. I'm sure it answers the questions, right?
Yeah.
So after you've joined Stefanotis, you're working there.
Yeah. And I must say, another sort of thing that we may take for granted, the people that start your career and advocate for your
sponsors.
The sponsors,
Yes,
there we go.
yes.
Your sponsors. I would say I was lucky. I met a guy called Thabo Mumakwe, James Mtembu, and Tian Erasmus. Those, I think, to me, those were my pillar people that sort of allow me straight from university, know nothing, and you think you know it all. And
Very,
to my
very bright-eyed.
to my surprise, I wasn't the smartest guy in the room. Met a lot of smart people, and that experience of 6 years at Stefanuti, I think, gave me sort of elevator entrance to the flow of corporate, and that corporate setup entailed I had to learn about people. I have to learn about myself. I had to learn about my shortcomings and my abilities, and as well as you're probably not as smart as you think you are. And if you allow yourself and be humble, you learn a lot from others. So that's essentially what happened to me at Stefanuti. I learned from a small project to a big project, which I think at the time there was 2010 build-up for the World Cup.
World Cup stadiums.
So, I mean, you as a junior person, you would work on quite a serious
major
project
because
there was just so many people working. So that experience to me, it has sort of made a career foundation again, and there will be then. I think, am I allowed to mention names, right? Of people?
You can. No, definitely. I mean, if these are your sponsors, these are people who carried you. Yeah.
Sure. And then I think at some point, again, you start having a family, and then you realize, hey, I have to stop thinking small. I have to think big. This is now career has to sort of elevate. And I felt like at that time, the environment that I was in, it was kind of sort of, I kind of know everybody. I kind of know exactly the work is repetitive. What can I do? And then I joined another company called LeMay Construction. At that time, it was
big companies.
Big company, yes.
Big companies.
I think it's one of the in the building sector. It's one of the top 5 now. But at that time, it was fairly small. There, I learned entrepreneurship because these guys were entrepreneurs. They were starting up, and that was the greatest, I think, highlight of my career. Still is today, I think, where I think I was thrown into the deep end. The company is sort of fairly new. They were 5 years into the market, but the demand for construction was just crazy at the time. And work from projects, you're no longer doing one project now, you're doing multiple projects. You're no longer, reporting to someone, people are reporting to you.
Yeah, you're no longer a junior now.
You're no longer a junior. And to me, that career choice sort of made sense at that time. Yes, at university, you could say you made a career choice solid, but at this time now, this is, I would say, solidifying. You start to see other aspects. Now, there's a social component that contractor gets into. So you get to sort of another sponsor, call it, for other, young emerging companies. Show the ropes. And then we take graduates as well. There were graduates, sort of informal graduate program. Take new people, train them, they become part of the company. Worked well. And I think the key takeaway there at LeMay was entrepreneurial drive. And it was 3 partners. And those 3 partners, I think, is still what it is today. I think it's big. It's one of the biggest companies in South Africa, in the country now. But those takeaways for me was that I think I was promoted into a director at my 4th year, 3rd year into the company. And that directorship position came with a lot of challenges. You're young, and the context of being young in a very sort of mainly white dominant industry, and the company was like that. So you had a lot to, you had a lot of personality issues within yourself.
But how do you then juggle that, right? So you mentioned that it's a predominantly white industry.
Correct.
Construction.
Yeah.
And you are a young
Correct.
So did you ever get a sense that you probably got the directorship because
Of course.
of the BEE?
Yes, of course.
Or you got it? Yes, you know.
Yeah.
You know your work ethic. You know
Yeah.
that you've got the credentials. You
Yeah.
can stand your ground.
Yeah.
But how do you navigate that?
How do you navigate it? Sometimes I think it all the feedback as well. I think the feedback loop between the guys was mainly positive. So I would say I didn't have to believe the stereotype at that time. Maybe it was a perfect combination of things that here's a guy that can do the job and he's a
With
perfect
the
candidate
qualifications.
with the qualifications,
Yes.
and he can actually do sort of meet this criteria that the company lacks. So I think it was
blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. I think then now you're no longer sort of having this sort of doubt, because now you're getting a bit of confidence. But yes, I'm younger than them. I'm less experienced than them. But I mean, I think what I take out from that experience was that they believed in people, not me, in people. And I think the people management aspect of it came for me as the biggest highlight for the company, where I think they're the greatest leader in terms of people management. The opposite is true as well. When there were things going wrong, they were decisive, and that's corporate culture.
Yes.
And that it was neutral for everyone, whether you this, you're that, it was the same cutthroat industry, where I think I then have a sort of adjustment. After that experience, I went to another company which was more a developer. There my role was still sort of I'm from a director to a senior QS role. Sort of a downgrade, but the incentive was better, funny enough. So
do you think that at times we do jump because of the money?
Yes, I would say at that time that was the motivator. I needed the money. My family was growing, and the responsibilities are growing, and myself as well. I started to now challenge myself a bit. I wanted to go to school because I realized I had to catch up. Having the experience and having the qualification is not enough.
So you only have the diploma at this time? At
that time, yes. And then I challenged, I think somewhere between Limay, I challenged myself to say I'd go to school. I did my BTech. Somewhere around again, I went for honors equivalent, which is your PDBA. I then went and did my MBA, which is coming to an end quite soon.
That's where we met.
That's where we met. Yes. Yes. Timuhlale, yes. And yeah, man, what an experience. But we're gonna get to that point as well. And the biggest transition is that I'm talking about transition because you're talking about stages of someone's life, and now you realize that people are more educated now than before when we entered. So now I think for other youngsters as well, what they need to do is they need to look at the environment. Reading is almost reading the room. You can't have qualifications for the sake of
having them.
Exactly. So the career choices that we're making now have to be relevant. Is the demand there? Is the relevant qualification? So I think just maybe for insight as well, just outside me, just to be talking about broadly, general. So what are the other things that I've learned over the years? I realize people appeal to sort of celebrated courses, but celebrated courses, they aren't bad. I'll talk your IT, your engineering, your actuarial sciences and all of that. But the truth is that not everybody can fit into those streams. Those streams are quite tough, and some people might have a good academic performance in high school, but when you're getting to the stream, you find that a person isn't so creative for that space. So what I like to maybe just, as from experience, there are courses that really have sort of limitless opportunities. I'll make an example. In law, many people, they study LLB. Right?
No. So let's go back to what you're saying now, right? And I want to challenge you.
Yeah.
We find that there's quite a lot of people who have graduated with an LLB but are at home.
Yeah.
What would you advise?
What would be my advice? Again, it goes to leveling up, number one. And specialization is what separates you today. You cannot have a general degree. You have to have a special skill. That's what separates people. So within legal, there's so many things. There's legal in mining. People don't know that. There's commercial law. People don't know those specialization. You'll hear of probably criminal law mainly, but there's contract law, which is the biggest sort of how can I put it, industry in South Africa. Why? You've got your mining sector, you've got the project sector, you've got the infrastructure planning departments, you've got government. All those are facilitated by big law firms and law firms. Those people aren't specializing in criminal law, they're specializing in business. So I think that to me is what is not sort of sensitized, or people not aware are not aware of.
But where do you think the problem is here?
Yeah.
Where, is it the research element?
Yeah.
What could be the problem? This person is a graduate.
Yeah.
This person has got an LLB.
Yeah.
Why do they not know that there's these opportunities out there?
Because we tend to migrate with a group. It's a human behavior. People make a choice. Like I said, I made a choice earlier on to migrate with friends, but I realized this thing is not for me. Same with these courses. I mean, at universities, you find a sort of big group of people migrating to a certain stream. But you look at stats, you're saying, how many industry intake does this course have? You find it's less than 10%. That's why you end up with people at home. And yes, maybe it will be a bad example for engineering, because engineering, not so many success. People get to complete the courses, number one. So it's got a higher failure rate, which means there's a small group that completes school. Then that group gets to be employed. Maybe engineering would be a bad example to say, don't go for it. But if you have the aptitude, you have the drive, definitely. But there's other interesting courses for me in terms of like especially where you find a person who's cramped up in accounting. Numbers. But this person likes the outdoor environment, right? And there's things like, for now, especially for, I think I'll say my black people, there's things like your nature conservation. There's people, they don't know how lucrative those environments are. There's courses within the sort of research sciences as well. People don't know how those streams are lucrative.
But where's the problem? I'm asking this because why don't people know this? Why is it because of lack of, maybe from the school side, or is it the universities, or what is it? What is it? We have so much information available, but on Google is there. What is the issue? Why don't we know of these available? When we were speaking off camera, we spoke about people going into actuary now and then failing because that's the thing. Are we not communicating with our kids? Are we failing them in that regard? What is the problem, and why is it that they don't know of all these available avenues that are out there?
Yeah, I'd say, Busi, it's a combination of many things. I think we live so much of a on-the-screen life, which is social media driven, and that's the celebrated aspect of these things comes from. Most of it, I'll make an example. Most of it can be driven by those things to say, what's the in thing for young boys, forex trading. For ladies, and I hate to say this in a wrong context, otherwise I'll be in trouble on your stream, but Obu influencer, but the reality is that not Obu influencer will work for everybody. And if you don't understand brand positioning, marketing, the relevance to making a brand about yourself, which is who you are. Like now, you're making a brand, but what are you positioning yourself? Positive talk, we're changing the mindset of people. That is brand positioning. But it has a negative impact sometimes, where people think, being in nudes is going to get them fame.
Connecting OnlyFans.
Sorry?
OnlyFans.
Yeah. So I think to me that's what sort of distract the youngsters, where we live in a sort of bubble of excitement, where there's no sustainability in the thing. You can't live a life of a forex trader, and now we're learning all of these forex traders that were popular 10 years ago, they are nowhere today, but a lot of younger boys have gone and sort of misdirected and wasted money, wasted their future. They could have gone and did something more sort of formal. I would say formal or informal stream for me would work. And I always advocate for these courses in a technical college, and people underestimate the power of that institution.
But so now you're talking about technical colleges, right? We don't have them anymore. Or you're talking about TVET?
TVET colleges, yeah.
TVET colleges.
Yes, sorry.
That's a conversation that is right now big in the country, as you would know.
Absolutely.
If you watched the first episode, you would have seen Lewana's reaction when I said TVET. She was like, because it's frowned upon.
Yeah, it's frowned upon.
Our kids right now, we had spoken about the matriculants that passed and the number of placements that are available in the universities, and most of them are not even considering TVET. So it's interesting that you're bringing that up.
Yeah.
So what would an ideal world, or maybe say what government needs to do?
What government needs to do, it's actually not even in the hands of government. And I hate to have this sort of, we always wait for government to do something in order for us to sort of make a structured decision. Like for instance, because government will fail you, make an example where they fail people. I mean, a degree in medicine, well respected around the world. Come to South Africa, we have doctors that are unemployed. So that's where I don't like to wait for government to do things. Why are doctors not being trained? There's no funds. That's said, but you have a general population that is going to go pivot into this medicine and have a dead-end career because of someone in government who did not do and facilitate these young doctors to be trained. Now, move back to the TVET colleges. Why I see opportunities. Why I see opportunities in TVET colleges is because of the industry I'm in. We have one of the richest countries in terms of minerals. We have deposits of platinum for the next 400 years in the country. All of that, the alloys and metals need boiler makers. They need technical skills in the stream of fitters, you name it. You could name everything in engineering.
Artisans.
I mean, and artisans,
they're always
intake. They're always, we have energy drive in the country now where we're building power stations. You need artisans there. We have a drive now where the SEZs are being planted everywhere in the country. I'll mention Kucha, your Ford Industrial in Pretoria. That's a huge intake of artisans. But the sad thing is that we're starting now to see people coming from overseas with skills and working in our industry. But people don't know that. I mean, I'll talk other industries. It's just that I don't want to be sort of political with these things. You'll talk about the motor industry, the way it is right now. Yes, the Chinese market is coming in with a negative spin to the industry, but what keeps the country going is production. In your agriculture, in the mining sector, in the motor industry, I would say to some extent, even the processing of those minerals with these SEZs that are coming up. So all of that needs artisans, but people queuing in, all of them to be engineers, all of them to be doctors. Who's going to work in those factories? And to me, that's where I think the country could invest, and you don't have to wait for government. I think the big industries can see that gap. They investing a lot. You can have now a TVET college bursary, and you can go to any government approved sort of TVET college. They get bursaries galore with accommodation, and those guys, after finishing,
they get a job. I know.
Funny enough, people think those jobs earn a basic living. They earn more than your doctors and your accountants.
That's the thing about,
and that's the thing people don't know. I'll challenge you: go to Mpumalanga and see these youngsters that went to these TVETs. They live to me, I think they live a nice, comfortable life like all the other engineers. And there's nothing stopping them from having that experience and become engineers in the future with sort of a formal stream, but having the access to employment. And to me, it is said, and I'm not taking medicine, down or anything like that, but it is said today that the value of a medical degree is not as important because people are afraid you're going to go to the stream and you're not, again, in order for you to separate yourself in the medical stream, you have to be a specialist. That's another challenge. What is being a specialist? It takes more money, more research, more time after graduating. After some families consider the background of people, and and let's be honest. We'll see that's correct for my context as well. I come from rural areas. Didn't come from a sad background, but at the same time, I didn't come from privilege, and so many other people as well. So if you have all these people that are sort of graduates, is it worth having a graduate in BA? I'll say yes, absolutely. But universities have a responsibility to reduce the number of intake in those streams. We have a facility of a big institution, rather increase where there's demand, and then you sort of flip the faculties around based on demand. I think we've got so many researchers, so much data to compute and be able to say how many people do we have in matric? Okay,
900,000.
900,000. Yes. Now, out of this 900 people, how many people qualify for university? And then we work backwards from that. We say, okay, we've got this influx every year, but the general intake, including TVETs, can be this. And I think we've got a very positive aspect that the country is where it finds itself now, but the possibility is that there's newer opportunities. There's newer opportunities. The BRICS nations that are here. And again, South Africa has positioned itself that it works with everyone. It means we're not going BRICS, we're not going that way, we're just open for business. Yes. So those are the things that you can credit government for, but at the same time, don't wait for them. Otherwise, this culture of waiting for government, I hate it because it almost creates that expectation that we are dependent on an incentive.
So I recently learned, going back to the conversation about TVET, that TVET colleges now offer even more qualifications.
Great, yeah.
And with them, obviously, it's practical qualifications, right? So, like, I think they introduced streams along the admin side.
Yeah.
I think they also introduced things about management, retail management, all of those, right, which were not available in the past. But my biggest problem now is that you find that majority of the colleges that were there are closed.
Yes.
So now they are trying to attract people to them, but there's no space. They're not there anymore.
They're not there.
Like, you're finding that, okay, fine, maybe 20 North, 20 South. The space is going to be an issue now when we start pushing people towards them again, right?
Yep.
So I'm actually, I've invited a gentleman who's in the TVET space, who I would love to have a bigger conversation around this with. But let's go back to you.
Yeah.
Let's go back to you. I know you're passionate about our kids and the future of our continent. Yeah. So after you went into this other business, you say that you went into entrepreneurship. So you stopped working and then you decided to go on your own.
Yes, I went on my own. And boy, did I not take a gamble with my family as well. I think that was the most stupid thing I done. But
why do people say that though? Why do people say that when they go into entrepreneurship, then
and again, it sort of goes back to that sort of migrating with a group. So I'm entrepreneur by heart. I think I am not a person who's naturally waiting for instruction or what. I'm a starter. I think that's what excited me to be an entrepreneur. I think also the experience that I've gained in the company that I called LeMay previously, where to see entrepreneurs working, the dedication, the setup, growing business, and their day-to-day commitment. Yeah. To me, that's what inspired me. And I wanted to just sort of, take a chance. And at that time, it was fashionable to be sort of, they called them BE at the time. I think that was also, I think, an excitement out of that as well, a bit of excitement out of that. And I think I started launching my career, my company. It started off like that. And I did not have a waiting period. I mean, I think I started in the month of January, 3 months. I was having contracts. But what I would say differentiated me at that time is that I did not have a big mindset or what. I took any job that I could do. Small.
What industry was this in?
It was still construction. So I built a lot of houses for people, and these will be renovations, you know, and all of that. And then I started to sort of see this thing that, okay, it's working. I can live off this thing. And then I went to sort of private sector. I never worked on a government tender. And I went private sector, worked for companies, asking for maintenance, fixing shopping centers.
So you were a middleman?
Not a middleman.
Not a middleman. You were
a contractor.
Oh, contractor. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that being a contractor, and also I sold the construction management aspect of it, where I could help, you know, a facilities management department to schedule maintenance, all of that in a mall. And I was lucky that even here at Mall at Reds, it's what one of the clients at the time I had, and just basic maintenance, and then it grew. It grew very fast. I think there is what you call grading in companies in the construction industry. I grew from a grade 1 to grade 6.
Wow.
In 3 years.
Wow.
And a grade 6 would be what you call back then a company that turns over about 30 odd million.
Wow.
And in a year. So it grew that, but the sad thing is that I think I did not manage finances well. Compliance and regulation, understanding how business work. I think having a corporate job, doing a function, and running a company,
it's completely
different.
Yes.
And then that's what inspired me to meet you at school, because now I realize, hey, I can't do this by my own.
Yeah.
I need some sort of administrative understanding. How does this thing work? And I failed to see dismally as a business person, and I think I had a choke because the failure was not, I could not even foresee it. You know, it was just sudden, you know, a few payments not coming through. You owe substantial amount of money. And then you try to be resilient and be stubborn. Hey, this money is growing. And that's essentially what affected the company. And I had to find myself back in the job market, which is where I'm at now. I work for a water infrastructure company called Badira Moho. And back then it was called Libalelo Water. And basically the company, it provides water to mining sector. Again, it's probably a pivoting career now, because I worked mainly in commercial buildings. Now you go to the water industry. Though I had a bit of experience in project implementation, but a sector is a sector on its own. An environment is a specialist environment on its own. So where I found that one, it's a highly regulated sector. There's so many regulatory aspects to it. And then I find that I am still learning, even though you think you had so many experiences.
Yeah, but the
lessons are big, and it's a program. We're working on a big project. It's just that I don't want to say because these things are live.
Yeah.
So a big program to provide water to the whole of to the southern extension of Limpopo, and also the northern extension of Limpopo, and that to me is now, I would say, a sort of another level of learning and another level of, you know, adopting thinking style, learning from others. We work with the brightest engineers, brightest managers, brightest CEOs, and you learn. And sometimes you humble yourself that, again, I'm not Mr. Know-it-all. And that humbling, eating a pie, you're saying, okay, I'm here to learn, and I'm learning. I've been there 3 years now, and that's essentially what made my career. You see, I think I've just spoken about probably around 20 years now of my life.
Yeah. I like that.
Really,
I like that. I mean, that's why we have first beginnings, right?
Yeah.
To talk about the different stages of your career, the ups and downs.
Yeah.
The failures.
Yeah, the failures. I think that's how you found me in class, and then I think we can talk about that as well, if you don't mind. So how I think
I remember you hadn't registered on time.
I didn't register on time. I was the last person to come.
You were the last person to join.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and had a bit of trouble with finances and did not pay on time, whatever. Yeah, but that's a long story. And what I think pushed myself into, I said, okay, I know MBAs are sort of again another celebrated, degree.
Is it still celebrated?
Well, you argue irrelevant, but I think it's what I take out of it for me that will make it relevant. I would say MBA has given me something that I did not know all along, that a business setup is an integration.
Yeah.
A business setup is a compilation of thinking from other people. It's not one thinking. And you would know this as well. I think a company is not by Dangote by himself. In order for that refinery to work, it needs a lot of bright minds.
Yep.
And so is the MBA. Met a lot of bright people, and you realize that again, you're not as smart as you think you are. and I met incredibly smart people, incredibly, great personalities, and you don't know everyone, but you kind of like grasp a few things from each and everyone. Yeah, and my great.
I think our cohort was special though.
Yeah, there's something special there. You made it special. I think so that pussy is to me a sort of an approved stamp that an MBA is still relevant. An MBA is who has the MBA, who wants the MBA. That's another different.
And what you're gonna do with it?
Yeah, what you're gonna do with it? Yes, yeah. And then I think that's what makes that piece of certificate credible or not.
Like any other, I suppose, right?
I suppose,
like any other degree.
Yeah. I mean, go back to the subject of doctor. Even if you get a doctor, if you're there chowing 50s and you're becoming a doctor, you go to practice, you're not as serious. You're not going to be a great doctor.
Yeah.
So great doctors are relevant because of the expertise, their commitment to the qualifications they have.
And they're lifelong learners, I suppose.
Exactly.
Upskilling yourself at every given opportunity.
Absolutely. But I think, obviously, it covers my experience, and I don't want to speak as a advocate for everyone, but that's a bit of my experience in the field. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Please do avail yourself for questions to answer some of the questions that we do receive on the page.
Yeah.
Because I saw at some point, I think Katla was the last episode, there were some questions and I was like, Ish, I didn't say to Katla, you can come onto the page and respond, my friend.
Absolutely.
So please do respond. I mean, this is home.
Yes.
And that's how we want to treat Boss Beginnings, because we want to also give ourselves an opportunity to even mentor some of the young kids. I mean, I know we don't have much time, but mentorship is not necessarily seeing each other every day, but it's just giving a voice and giving advice.
Absolutely.
I was listening to somebody speak the other day, and they were like, we tend to want to formalize a lot of things. Sometimes it's just being there at any given time and giving advice, and maybe even if it's not all the young kids that will listen, but somebody will learn something from our conversation today. So thank you very much for coming through.
Great, thank you so much.
I will see you at the Great Hall when we graduate, my friend.
Yeah.
If not before then.
From your mouth to God's ear. I hope so. I have to finish though.
Oh wow. Yet another episode of Boss Beginnings with BI. Do like, share, subscribe, and comment on our page, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.